Right, next one. A bank has introduced a system whereby its customers will use contactless smart cards to make purchases. This method of payment involves customers holding their cards close to the reader at shopping outlets and restaurants. Discuss the advantages and disadvantages of this method of payment compared to using chip and PIN. Okay, I don't know if you've ever paid for anything on card in your life ever, but two ways to pay now. One way is that you insert your card into the reader because your card has a chip on it. Okay, you wait for the card to read, then you type in your PIN number, and then what it does is that obviously it checks whether your card has been lost or stolen before it takes payment, and it checks that the payment the money is available for you to pay in your bank, and then obviously it then accepts it. So, and another way to pay is to simply just hold your card up against the reader and then it accepts the payment. Okay, it checks the payment, checks the card and accepts it. So what we've got to look at really is the advantages and disadvantages of this. Now, when it comes to card payments, bank accounts, anything to do with money, the disadvantages that you need to look at are basically in terms of fraud. So, first of all, let me run through the advantages of this method, okay? Now, this method of payment is very quick and very easy because I don't need to remember my PIN number. So if I'm useless at remembering PIN numbers, then I simply don't need to worry. Sorry, my phone's ringing. Put this on. Sorry about that. Right, anyway, continuing. So I described the two methods that you could pay. Now, as I said, you need to look at the advantages and disadvantages of these. And whenever it comes to money, you've got to think about the possibility of fraud. Okay? So, now when you pay contactless, as I said, you just literally put your card onto the reader, and the reader works using radio waves. Now, the reader isn't activated until you are going to make a payment, and it has to be activated to say that you're making a contactless payment. So then you put the card on the reader and it just accepts your card. Obviously, sometimes it doesn't if there's no money in your account. Now, to make a payment using this method, you can only pay a certain amount. And I believe the amount used to be in England was £15, and I think here it's something like €20. So you can only make a contactless payment on a small amount. Now, I believe the reason for that is to prevent fraud. So, and also prevent, obviously, if your card's stolen, then basically what happens is someone can just pay. So when I actually pay using that method, it never asks me for my PIN number. So I don't think it actually does any checks whether your card is actually stolen or not. So if someone was to steal my debit card, they could actually go into various shops and they could buy things to the value of €20 and just simply swipe my card or touch my card on touchpad to pay for items until my card is stopped. The advantages of this payment is that it's very quick, it's very easy, and the only person that needs to actually touch my card is me. So when I go into a shop and I go to pay with my card, the shopkeeper doesn't need to actually physically touch my card at all. Because remember, at the front of every debit card, there's the 16-digit number, which obviously can be used for payments, and also generally your bank account number and your sort code. So the advantages of this, like I said, is quick, it's simple. I don't need to remember a PIN number. But the disadvantages is if my card is stolen, anybody can use my card and just simply pay until my card is stopped. And also, there are technologies that would find these cards. So, for example, fraudsters that are out to use bank cards and steal details could actually carry devices with them, and they can just simply walk past and scan people's bags, scan people's pockets, and try and pick up the radio signals to fraudulently retain the details of the card. So that is a possibility there. Any other advantages and disadvantages that you may be able to think of, write them down. Okay, this is a 6-mark question. Okay, so now when it comes to technology, try to remember as well that there will be more advantages than there are disadvantages. But the disadvantages in this are questionable in terms of fraud.